Mr. Wilson, please. Hello, Hal? Earl Barker. Yeah, they're both here now. Werner got here about 10 minutes ago, and Oxley just drove up in a cab. They haven't let on they know each other. No, they won't be sitting together. I watched them check in for their seats. Yeah, I guess so. I suppose you still want me to ride the plane over to Frankfurt. Okay. I'll let the military intelligence boys take over there. Tell them I'm ticketed as E.W. Barker. Sure, I can see them both from here.
Your attention, please. TWA Flight 704 to London and Frankfurt is now ready for loading at Gate 34. All aboard, please.
Right now, I'm Earl Barker, technical advisor to the Air Force, data processing.
Nice to know you, Mr. Barker. I'm Pastor Martin, and I'm flying first class for the first time in my life. One of our board members bought the ticket for me, and he wouldn't let me argue.
I'd fly economy class myself if I had to pay for my own ticket. And I think most of the other people in this flight feel the same way.
Good morning. This is your hostess, Miss Hessler, speaking. Welcome aboard Flight 704 to Frankfurt, with stops in Montreal and London. Luncheon will be served upon reaching our cruising altitude. Please fasten your seatbelts and observe the no smoking sign. Thank you. Your seatbelt more tightly. It's for your own safety and comfort.
I'm sorry.
Have you flown with us before?
No, this is my first trip to Europe.
Oh, I hope you'll enjoy it.
I hope so, too.
Your ticket says Frankfurt. Will you be visiting other German cities?
Just Wiesbaden at present. My company's building a reactor there.
Reactor?
It's for making electricity by nuclear energy instead of coal or gas. We're installing several in Germany, kind of a pilot program.
Yes, I read about it. But isn't power from a reactor more expensive?
It's getting cheaper.
Finished with this newspaper? Help yourself. No regrets?
None.
Thought you looked kind of unhappy when we took off.
It isn't a happy moment to realize you may never see your own city again. Even if you are leaving because you want to.
You'll see San Francisco again. You'll see it when the world's a far happier place than it is today.
I believe that, too. Are you sure we should be talking like this?
We're underway now. Passengers look like a humdrum bourgeois lot. When you disappear quietly behind what these fools call the Iron Curtain, there may be some questions asked of your fellow passengers on this flight. As a lawyer, I'm used to answering and asking questions. I'll say that I encountered you at certain social functions in the city. We had a nice, innocuous, non-political chat. We'll talk more in the Montreal airport. Thank you for the newspaper, Mr. Werner.
More coffee, sir?
Thank you.
Feel better now?
I felt fine all along.
I thought you looked sort of sad to leave San Francisco. But Lisa says it's just in account of the party.
I don't understand.
Your beau voyage party. Lisa thinks everyone leaving San Francisco must have a party.
Well, I didn't. Maybe I should have.
You'll have many parties in Wiesbaden. It's a happy city. Lovely, too. Though not as lovely as Berlin.
You're from Berlin?
Yes.
West Berlin, I suppose.
No, I'm from East Berlin. Good afternoon. Captain Byrne has asked me to announce that our altitude is 31,000 feet and our speed 605 miles an hour. We will arrive in Montreal in approximately 1 hour and a half. Thank you.
I've never been in Montreal. Wish we were stopping there longer.
Now, it's a fine old city. Maybe you'll have a chance to stop there on your way back.
Well, I imagine I'll be anxious to get home then. 3 weeks is the longest I've ever been away from my church. I really didn't want to go at first, but my congregation insisted. They even asked me to prepare a slide lecture series on the historic churches of northern Germany. Perhaps it'll be something worthwhile to share with our young people.
Why do you suppose young people would be interested in churches built so long ago? Most of them, as I recall, were rather plain churches, not like the big cathedrals.
I felt that the young people would be most interested of all in those plain old churches. You know, those old churches have a powerful story to tell of the true revolution that can happen in the human mind and spirit. We sometimes forget this and overlook the tremendous possibilities of a truly Christian revolution and the communists gain by our default. I believe that the young people of East Germany today could find more revolutionary insights in the Christian faith than they could ever hope to discover in the teachings of Marx and Lenin. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you a sermon.
No. I wish you could get on the intercom and give that sermon to everyone on this plane.
Why did you leave East Germany?
Because I couldn't find there what I was looking for.
What were you looking for?
Perhaps the same thing you are looking for or have been fortunate enough to find. I want a chance to give meaning to my life.
Have you found it? Here?
No. But at least I found the freedom to look, to doubt, to ask questions.
What were the questions you could not ask in East Germany?
Mostly the questions beginning with why. Like, why should all the laws of social evolution suddenly stop working when the communists took power? Or why should we assume that there is no spiritual side to man's nature, simply because we cannot measure it with one of our 5 known senses? Students must ask these questions, Mr. Werner, or they would be memorizing, not learning.
Don't you think that sooner or later, we all have to stop asking questions and find something to believe in?
Of course. But if the belief is right, questioning will only make it stronger. That's the way I feel, and perhaps you too, about God. The more you think and question, the more sure you become of your faith in him.
I understand that in East Germany, there's freedom to believe or not to believe.
You will hear talk of such freedom, but you won't find it anywhere. My brother lost his privileges of attending the university when he quoted Einstein in a mathematics class.
I've read Soviet scientific papers that quoted Einstein.
Einstein said that God is responsible for the supreme order in the universe, that he leaves nothing to chance. My brother repeated that during a discussion on laws of probability. He also reminded his teacher that Einstein said God does not play at dice. 2 days later, his scholarship was canceled. I'm sorry. We have to get ready for the landing in Montreal.
Surprised at what you said about the lack of intellectual freedom in East Berlin.
I can see our charming young hostess has what might be called characteristic German social democratic attitude. Social democrats, you may recall, sat around asking themselves questions and answering them to their own satisfaction while Hitler was rising to power. It's a typical liberal approach.
Oh, I know that. The point is, if it's true...
Just think of all the debates that are going on this very moment in the coffee houses of the North Beach. If history were in their hands, they'd still be talking about fallout while the imperialists were starting a nuclear war. But you and other thinking people like you are different. You're willing to do something about your convictions instead of endlessly debating whether or not you have any. By devoting your atomic knowledge to the peaceful scientific goals of the Soviet Union, you're taking the only road that leads to the future. The only other alternative is the one that you've already rejected. That is, continuing to allow your knowledge to be exploited for private profit and ultimately war against mankind.
I know. I've had enough of that.
You'll be happy in Moscow, Paul. I only wish I could be going there with you.
I wish you could too, Dick. You've been a wonderful help. You're an inspiration to me. I knew I was groping for something, but I never could have found it without you and our other friends.
I'm proud of you. We're all proud of you.
I only hope I'm strong enough for what I'm trying to do.
You are.
Your attention, please. TWA flight 704 to London and Frankfurt is now...
Well, I guess it's time to be getting back to the plane. 6 more hours and we'll be over the pond. Try to get some sleep tonight, Paul. I wouldn't let our stewardess start any more conversations. I can't tell what she's trying to find out and for whom.
Sleep?
I'm not sleepy.
You're still asking questions too, aren't you?
Maybe. But I've found the answers that make the most sense to me.
But you don't seem to be happy with them.
Do we have to be hedonists?
I'm sorry, I don't understand. You have another word? Or the German word?
I was trying to ask whether it's necessary for us to find happiness in everything we do.
Of course not. But we have to have some faith in what we do or believe.
Studying in East Berlin? What were you trying to do?
You would be surprised.
I doubt it.
I wanted to be a teacher of music.
What are you doing riding these planes?
After my brother and I escaped, we found out he had leukemia. And now I have to earn for two.
I'm very sorry.
Will all your business be in Wiesbaden?
I'm not sure.
Your ticket says Frankfurt. But in many ways, I think you have the same destination I have.
What's that?
Destination Unbekannt.
Unbekannt?
Destination unknown.
Better than I expected. How about you?
I could sure use about 8 hours in a bed. Remember that little sermon you preached to me yesterday? The one I wanted to put on the intercom?
Mm-hmm. And if you'll talk to the captain, I'll be happy to give it before breakfast.
I'm serious. I can't spell it out for you. But the Air Force is not exactly the branch of the government I work for. There's a young man on this plane that might or might not be planning to go over to the communists. You might say that right now in his own mind, his future is unbekannt, if you know what I mean. If I could arrange it, would you be willing to talk to him?
I'll do what I can.
Lady, there are many things I can't tell you, and some things I don't have to tell you, but I need your help. A certain person's destination may be even more unbekannt than you know, but maybe he's not really so sure that he wants to go there. Now, as you know, the gentleman seated next to me happens to be a pastor, and he has some pretty solid ideas on destinations in general and communism in particular. If you'll invite the young man that you've been talking to come up here to the lounge and leave him alone for a little while, maybe we can do him some good.
I'll try. Could I please see you in the lounge for just a moment?
We're busy.
I would appreciate it.
I'll be right back.
Sit down.
What the?
Sit down. I suppose you'll be getting off in London.
Yes, I suppose so.
I imagine you'll want to take the first plane back home.
Just thinking the same thing myself.
Mr. Werner, please speak to this man. Maybe he knows what you're looking for.
I'm Pastor Martin. I'd like to help you if I can. The gentleman seated next to me asked me to talk with you. He's a government man. And I think he has a pretty good idea of what you may be planning to do. But he's got a lot of human understanding, too.
I don't know what this is all about.
Well, for the sake of discussion, let's assume that you're looking for something. I have a feeling that you may not have to travel nearly as far as you think to find it.
Oh.
Now, I'll not argue about communism as a political philosophy. I'm sure there are those who can do that much better than I. As a Christian pastor, I'm more concerned about the basic ideology of communism. Tell me, young man, are you a member of any church?
No, not a member, but I've been a number of times.
And I don't suppose I have to tell you that the basic tenets of atheistic communism and the cherished beliefs of Christianity are completely opposed to each other, with no hope of compromise, no hope of accommodation.
Well, whenever they disagree, I'm willing to string along with communism.
With its atheism, with its dialectical materialism. Our country was founded by Christian pioneers, men and women of deep Christian convictions, whose whole life was based on a personal belief in God. It was from their belief, which they passed on to their children, that we have derived our spiritual values. It was from our belief in God that all our precious liberties sprang. Freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of worship, the freedom of the mind to venture into the unknown and develop worthwhile sciences such as yours. Above all, the dignity and worth of the individual in the sight of God. All of these priceless liberties, without which I'm sure you wouldn't want to live a moment, have been developed in a country which believes in God and in man as having been created in God's image.
Look, I don't want to argue these things. As for God, it's all right for you to believe in an idea like that. But as for me, I don't need any crutches.
Of course, I'm not willing to agree that God is a crutch. But since you've used the word, I'll readily admit that I've often found comfort in leaning on him. And believe me, young man, the day will come when you'll be glad to lean on him. I never travel without a New Testament in my pocket. This little book means more to me than my whole library. And do you know why? Because it gives me the answers to the deepest questions of life. For me, there's no destination unbekannt, no destination unknown. I know exactly where I'm going. Jesus Christ has told me that. As God's Son, he died for me to make possible a brand new life. A life of peace, of love, of purpose. Above all, a life which has its ultimate end, its ultimate destination, in the presence of God, my Maker. Of these things, I am sure. Do you think you'll find these things where you're going? Before you reject the things I've said, have the courage to face them squarely. There's a paperclip on the page of that testament where I was reading a little while ago. I suggest that you begin reading there.
Jesus unto his disciples, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?"
So we bring to a close another episode of This is the Life. We sincerely hope that you have been spiritually benefited by the message which it brought.
This program has been presented by the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, with congregations throughout the United States and Canada, and is dedicated to the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God and Savior of the world.